Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday. I'm glad to see y'all in the building. As you come in the building, don't forget, hit the like button. Well, today we have a special treat. And over here, every now and then, we do the book club. Well, I had the amazing opportunity of reading Kisahgi Sin's book, Free Like Me, Surviving Addiction. So that is the book, everybody. And that is my copy, okay? So I am going to give away a book during this live. It will not be my beat up copy, okay? Don't judge my copy, but I had to read it and I took notes. So I have a brand new copy here, okay? So y'all can see I have two. I have a brand new copy that we will be giving away, blessing somebody with this book on this Sunday. It's a great story, and you can learn a lot from Kisahgi's story. So as I sit here, I'm about to bring Kisahgi in the building, and we're going to have an amazing conversation. So sit back, relax, everybody, and hold tight. Hey,
Hey,
Kisahgi.
hey, how you doing?
How are you? How are you? Welcome.
I'm doing good.
Good. Welcome to Chronicles of the Gray Hair Diva. I really appreciate you reaching out to me and sharing your book with me. Just an amazing story and a lot of bravery. I mean, you were very brave to put your story, in book form so that others can hear from you and learn. I mean, you just have so much to tell us. So thanks again for being here. So
Yeah,
let's
thank you.
off. You're welcome. Let's start off. Tell us about yourself, your upbringing, your parents, siblings, and your schooling.
Yeah, so I was born in San Antonio, Texas, and both of my parents, they were in the army, and that's how they met. And
Mm,
so they ended up in a relationship, ended up stationed in San Antonio, and then that's where I was born. 6 weeks later, they went through a divorce that was real quick. And then my mom came back to Ohio. And so that's where I ended up being raised in Ohio, single parent mother.
mm,
She basically, I had, let me see, so it was 13. Yeah, so it was 13 cousins. I consider them my siblings. So I was the 13 first cousin, so I was raised with them.
okay.
And that's how everything, and this crazy because my mother only had me. My father has other children, so I'm my mother's only child.
Wow, you're the only child.
Yeah.
So are you close to the your other siblings via your father?
uh my youngest sister, we're more close.
Okay.
The other one and my brother, I we text every day
Oh, nice.
because he's a pastor, so we text every day, and it's so crazy. The funny thing is because my name changed a lot, and I'll explain why. When my father, he had passed, and I found out about it, and I got the obituary because I
Mm,
was originally named after my father.
okay.
So my original name is Leroy Sims Anderson.
Okay.
So when I saw that obituary and I saw my name as one of his children, but the middle name was exactly like my father's middle name.
Okay.
And then I came to realize that my brother had the same name. And so that a whole bunch of emotions came about. Because
Mm,
here I'm not listed in this obituary. I'm not even thought about in this obituary. So immediately I'm thinking, oh, so I got angry. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm fixing to change this. I'm
mm,
changing this. We're not walking around here with the same. And I didn't know him yet. So I had never met my brother or anything. And
okay.
so what happened was I uh it was a product. Everybody knows this product is Mazzani. And I
Mm-hmm.
looked up the meaning and it means balance. And I'm just like, okay, I'll hyphenate, I'll throw that on the front of my name, I'll hyphenate it, and then boom, that'll be it. So because I wasn't gonna get rid of Leroy, I wasn't gonna get rid of that because I had diplomas and everything else in that name. And I'm like, okay, throw this on the front, and there you
Mm,
have it. Then later on, with branding, I had to change it because every time you popped in that name, all of the product shows up.
Right.
And I'm like, now I have to rebrand it. So that's when I end up becoming Kisahgi Sims. Because I'm
Okay.
like, this is like, I'm like, I can't, because it kept meshing in with all of that other stuff. And I'm like, no, I have books, I have music, I have,
Right.
so.
So you that was interesting what you mentioned about your dad's obituary, but the people who put the obituary together, do you think they knew about you? Did they know about you?
uh, mm-mm-mm. I think so.
Okay.
Without me getting too, I think the person who, you know, love him to death, I think he knew. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like I think he knew. And it was so funny because my mother, she was always telling me, you have siblings,
Mm-hmm.
So she said, all you have to do, now this tell you how old I am. She said, all you have to do is go downtown, go to the library. She gave me my father's ex-wife's name. She
Mm.
said, that's all you have to do is go there, go down to that library, look her up
Mm-hmm.
in the white pages.
Wow.
So I'm going through looking. The first number I saw, I'm just like, okay. And I called, that was a no-go. And then I called my mother and I'm like, hey, what did you say that last name? She said, the last name is the same last name as yours. So because the middle name was a Hispanic name.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, okay, because I was looking under that Hispanic name as that last name.
Mm-hmm.
So then I called that fourth number. And when I called that number, this man answers the phone and I tell him who I am. And he says, well, she is out in the garden. I said, okay.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, you got to call back. So I waited, called back. She got on the phone. I'm explaining to her who I am. And she said, oh my God.
Mm.
She was like, oh my God. She said, your sisters, she said, they're gonna, and I'm trying to explain, telling her that I know, I'm listing my sibling. I said, I know I have 3 sisters. I know I have a brother. All of these things are pinpointing. And it was like 2 weeks later, I was visiting. They
Wow.
literally let me come out there. Like it was no animosity. It was no anger. It was no nothing. It was the craziest thing. Like I was out there so quick. It was wild.
Woo. Okay. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Um,
Mhm.
so why did you decide to write this book about your life and your experiences that you went through?
Um, I wanted to help other people because I figure like if they were as terrified as I am in being who I am, I'm just like, you know what? I got to have some type of courage. I have to really, I have to really put this out and help people and know that, with the addiction and different things, it's not going to be clean. It's
Mm-hmm.
not going to be clean. It's going to be, because people try to make like, oh, if I do this is prettier than that. And this is this, that, and the third. It's like, no. And I wanted to help other people to let them know, like, look, you don't have to keep going around in a circle and going through Groundhog's Day. Cause that's what I felt like every day. It was the same thing over and over and over.
Mm. Wow. Ooh, okay. So your book explores your journey to recovery from drug and alcohol addiction. What
Mhm.
inspired you to share this deeply personal experience with your readers?
And what inspired me was because I would tell people like on my job or different things, and they didn't believe me. They're like, no, you don't look like these things are going, like you didn't look
Mm.
like you were on this stuff or you didn't look. And I'm like, yeah, I was really messed up. Like it was some messed up stuff going on. And it was so crazy because I had enablers. To think about it, the salon owner, her and her husband were enabling me. So, because I was booth renting, so
Mhm,
I was self-employed.
mhm,
So I'm sitting there working. I had rent to pay. I don't know if I had a car note at that time because on and off I'll pay a car off or whatever. I'm not sure. I don't think I had a car note at that time, but I had the booth rent and then I had the place that I was staying. I had to pay that rent.
mhm,
Then you have to buy all of your product.
mm,
So I'm sitting there putting IOUs. I racked up like it was up like $1,000 worth of IOUs because I couldn't pay the booth rent. And they
Mm.
let me stay. They just kept letting me rack them up and rack it up and rack it up. And then I would have to pay that out at one time, and then I was living off of value pack hot dogs.
Mm.
So as I'm working though, which is weird, when I was working in the salon, I lost a lot of weight, and nobody really, because I was small when I was younger, but nobody said anything. So, and I literally had a client literally go grocery shopping and buy me stuff, groceries and stuff like that. But I was literally functioning and just
Wow.
messed up.
So just give us a little idea of like how you first maybe was introduced to, I'm gonna say the drugs and the substances. Um, and
Oh,
how did it progress to you getting like, to the point where it was kind of out of control?
yeah. So it started when I was 8. So at 8, a cousin, those tall boy beers.
No, what
tall,
is
it's like tall boy. They call Slits. It's by Slits, and it's tall boy. And he let me have a sip up. It was ice cold. I still remember. And I was on the roof of the car. He gave me and my cousin a sip of that, and I remember. I'm just like, ooh, like this really, like I went in for. Normally, a kid does not like beer.
right?
But I went in for seconds. Like, let me have another sip of that. And
Wow.
so that was always like, it was just something. And I followed and I watched him because he was wild. He got into a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
And anything that I felt like that was going to take me away from who I was, I'm all in. If it's going to take me away, because I always knew I was different at 4. So I
Mm.
said, this takes me out of who I am, like immediately. And I
Right.
don't know what this is. And then I was 8, same thing. Was hanging out with this guy. It was an older guy. My cousin is the one that used to hang with him. I'll go around to his house and I don't know what words I can use for H. It's an opioid.
Oh, okay, okay.
I don't know if I could use that word.
I don't know. We'll just roll. We'll just keep rolling with it. But go
We'll
ahead.
just keep rolling with it. Okay, but so I go looking for the older guy that lives there that my cousin used to go hang out with. I
Mhm.
go there and I go in to walk up the steps. I go into the apartment and there's a set of beaded curtains.
Mhm.
So I'm looking through those beaded curtains and I see it was a man and a woman. They're in there and they're getting their stuff together. So they got the medicated Vaseline, they got the saran wrap laid out, they have syringes laid out, they got all of this stuff laid out, and they smoking cigarettes and they mixing everything up, trying to get, so they can get that fix.
Mhm.
And I just remember that energy in that room, and that energy, it was like fear,
Mhm.
but electricity combined. So you got the fear and electricity and something drawing me. Something was drawing me. And so, because it wasn't like, oh, I got to run out of here.
Right.
And I don't even remember leaving. So I don't remember leaving. I don't remember what happened next. I just don't remember. So it's just like a blackout
Wow.
because I just seen them doing that. So in my mind, I'm like, you could see that they knew, okay, it's going to be a release. As soon as I do, I'm not going to be whatever they was going through sick. I'm not going to have anxiety. I'm going to feel good. I'm not going to be here. So I knew like, it's something about this. So I'm just like, okay. So then I just registered that in my mind and that just stuck in the back of my mind. And then as I got older, cause I suffered from depression
Mhm.
and I said, I'm going to figure this thing out. I'm gonna figure this out. I got to figure out what can I do, what can I use, so at 17, that's when I really started getting into it. And hair was another thing that released endorphins in me.
Okay.
It was like, so you have both opposing things. You have something positive and then you have something negative. So those things basically intermeshed and intertwined is along with the music,
Mm-hmm.
along with me creating. So that's how that came about. And then I just basically graduated from one thing to the nut to another. So as I got older, then I integrated with the marijuana, and then with that I integrated into opioids,
Mm.
and then it switched over to benzodiazepines. Then it would go back to the opioid, and it was back and forth to, at one point in time, it was all of them combined.
Wow.
So you have all of these things combined. My base thing was alcohol. So alcohol was my standalone, that was my baseline, and that's what I was gonna always go to. If I didn't have anything else, it was gonna be that.
Alcohol.
So I was basically poly addicted.
Wow.
So where I'm addicted to a whole bunch of stuff.
Wow.
So
Wow. And someone asked, in the midst of all this, like when you was younger, like did your mom know like all of this was going on?
no,
Wow.
because my mother, oh my gosh, she's great. She worked and she taught nursing at UC, at Raymond Walters out here. She taught nursing. She, was a registered nurse. She worked at the VA. She
Okay.
did all of that. So I was one of those kids. I could get into stuff and you would know somebody would have to catch me. You
Mm.
know what I mean? I was that type of person to where very quiet, very, you wouldn't have known it.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
Whew. All right. Through all the addictions and all of the different things that you was mixing and that you was on, did you ever come close to like an overdose?
Um, I can't say that I ever did, because I had which this is weird, because with all of those mixtures, it could have taken me out without me judging correct, but I had a cutoff point.
Mm.
And I don't know what that was, but I always had a start and a cutoff.
Mm.
And I always had um, it was just something in there that just cut that off. And
Got
I don't know what that was that would cut that off.
mm.
So I would start maybe at 10 o'clock, and around about 12 o'clock or so, that was the cutoff.
You saying
And
10
then
o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night?
10 o'clock at night until
Oh,
12 a.m.
okay.
Yeah.
Then
And
whatever you was doing, you would just stop.
yeah. And then the thing is too, I, me being a Virgo, I'm frugal. I'm like, okay, I only got like 10 pills. These 10 pills got the last. So, I would just take, one of this and whatever, and then smoke a little bit or whatever, and boom. And
You
then once I
actually
got
get
to a
out.
certain level, I'm
Mhm.
just like, okay, I'm good. So I was really functioning.
Okay.
I was really fun, but me being self-employed allowed me to do that. Now, if I had to go work at somebody else's, mm-mm,
You wouldn't
I
have been
wouldn't have made it.
you wouldn't be able to do it. So
No.
when you was doing hair and you was in the throes, so to speak, of your addiction, um,
Mhm.
there was never no mishaps with the haircuts or nothing like that?
No.
Wow.
Mm-mm, because I didn't, because that's the thing. Now, the client, I knew I had to be present. So
Mhm.
I'm like, I ain't doing this while I'm doing their hair. Like,
Got
I'm not doing this. So I would be coming off of it, when I got to work.
gotcha.
So all day I'm coming off of it. I'm coming off, coming off, coming off. And I'm just like, I can't wait until this is over with.
So you could
I
go
can't wait till it's over with so I could get home. Like, I can't wait. So that's what was going on. It was like, so I was sober, if you want to call it that, because that stuff is still in your system. It
Mhm.
just wasn't in that peak amount.
Gotcha.
So it just allowed me to do what I needed to do and
Mhm.
just get empowered through it. So I ended up powering through it and making it, but I never came to work like in that condition. I'm just like, now one day, Now this did happen where I woke up. I'm thinking it's Sunday.
Mm.
My phone starts ringing off the hook. People are calling, hey, where are you at? Because I didn't make it to work. And it was Saturday. And I'm thinking, oh my God. So then my coworkers, shady people, they started trying to do my clients.
Mm.
So let me tell you. So they were asking this one, asking that one. So they asked this young lady, she had long hair. She was a double process. So with the double process, that means that you have a relaxer, you have high lift color. That client, that coworker of mine, set that client down in that chair, started applying that relaxer, and that hair starts sliding off down that shampoo bowl, all that long hair. My phone is ringing as if I'm not here. I'm not there. What are you talking about? I said, what did you use? I said, did you use a mild or a regular? She's stuttering. A mild or a regular? No, it's either or you use both, which is stupid. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you were trying to be shady and you did it, and now look at what you done did. All of this is sliding off. You don't know the history that I've developed. You don't know what I do, like technique. You don't know anything. You just went in there and saw it and tried to make the money. Yeah, and that girl had to go to college with their hair coming out. Like, I'm like, man.
You know what's interesting with that? Anytime my stylist, back when I was perming my hair and all of that, if my stylist wasn't there, I would just leave. Because they get to know your hair. Unless I was just getting something simple, like I was going to get, a wash and a wrap, or, do whatever. Then okay, I would let somebody else do it. But if I needed a process and my stylist wasn't there, I'm leaving. I let me know when my stylist be back, and then I'll figure this out. But no, I would leave, because that exact thing, like you said, the others really don't know your hair. And she was trying to be shady and still your customer.
Yeah. And I'm just like, what the, and so that was a mess. But that's the only time where I just went into and lost a day. Like, and I had a cousin that was a customer, and she didn't even think to call me. She just went home pissed, slamming stuff around. I'm like, but I could have been laid up somewhere, gone. And you didn't think to call me? Like, you got an attitude because you couldn't get your hair done, but you didn't think to say, hey, where are you at?
Right.
I had another client that was in front. She was crying because she thought something happened for real. I'm just like,
wow. Well, see, that's the other thing too. I have my stylist number. I'd be like, are you coming? I would text, are you coming, where you at, or you hear what's going on, right? So
that was some confusion that day, but I went, I don't know where I went. I was at home, but my mind was, and I woke up all thinking it's Sunday. I'm like, nah, I missed the whole Saturday.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So I know in the book, you discussed being part of the LGBTQI plus community and experiencing, some abusive same-sex relationships. Can you share how these experiences have shaped your understanding of resilience and self-discovery?
You know what? Because that's a really hard. That's the reason why I'm not.
Wait a minute. Let me just say this to you really quick. Leah, thank you for this, right? She says she got 28 years clean. Leah, congratulations to you. She said, hello, Diva. Kisahgi sends moms in chat. I love hearing people's journey, testimony. Diva, you're aware of part of my own story. And through the grace of God and praying mama, I got 28 years clean.
Wow.
Congratulations to you. And thank you, Leah.
Yes. Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that has made me very leery of even being in a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, so I won't even fool with it right now. Like, I just, and then I look at all of the, I ain't even trying to be funny, but I look at all of them cotton picking letters, and I'm just like, well, we didn't even have all those letters when I was coming, like, and then they add an extra stuff that don't even make. I'm just like,
Right.
y'all add an extra thing, like, you know, I'm just trying to be normal. I'm
Mhm.
just trying to be me. Like you know what I mean? So that's when it gets to the point that where, and then how it shaped me, I just saw like how much my energy that I put out, and I think it was my self-hate,
Mm.
that it just came, you know, it's a boomerang, and it was just coming back. Because it was like at 4 on up, like I was always teased, I was always bullied, you know, and it was by family members. I kept that out of the book, trying
Mhm.
to protect them, but it was just constantly like I knew I was different. I was like, something is wrong. Like, you
Mhm.
know, like you can literally feel like something is wrong. And so when I got into a relationship with the mother of my child at 14, and I was codependent, and she's codependent, and on top of that, I have OCD. So I'm thinking, okay, ooh, and I really, oh my goodness, just, you know, being in a relationship, that excitement. And I'm just like, oh, this is the one. Like, she is the one. And I
Mhm.
said, this is going to turn it around. You know what I mean? I'm thinking this is going to turn it around. I ain't got to think about it. You know what I mean? I could be quote unquote normal. I'm like, this is going to turn me, this is going to turn me right on around.
Mhm.
And it ended up where, you know, when you have low self-image and you think you don't deserve something, she was feeling the same way, I think, on her end too,
Mhm.
because she constantly had to remind me of this person wants me, that you know, throwing these things in my brain. And I'm like, oh God. And so, you know, with me being insecure, that put me in hyper alertness of, okay, well, what can I do to keep this person? What can I, you know, what can I do? You know,
Mhm.
so in that relationship, it ended up, of course, being toxic. And oddly enough, we ended up coming full circle, because she's married now and everything, and we ended up coming full circle to where we are literally cool. Like,
That's
and I'm just like, what? Like, because you know, when I was writing the book, like you can see the kind of, you can see the venom in me, and I kind of, I
Yeah.
feel bad about it because I was in that space at that time. And
Right.
then when that thing turned around and we were able to communicate, because oddly enough, I was in the studio doing the audible, and she called because it was an issue. And
Mhm.
I'm just like, oh, so we're discussing it, and the conversation was, oh, it was so smooth.
Mm.
So I just know, you know, with her, you know, she's gonna always, even though it might be some things that I don't like, is
Mhm.
she's gonna always have a special place, you know.
As
So
she should, right?
yep,
The mother, your daughter,
yeah,
as
that make me tear up a little bit.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but
You know what I'm proud of? I'm glad you had a full circle moment.
yeah,
Because there's a lot of times in life that, two people get together, and maybe when they get together, it's a lot going on and they went through a
hmm,
lot. But
yeah,
I think it's always amazing, especially if those two people have children together, that
yep,
they can have that full circle moment.
yeah,
So blessings
yeah,
to you and the mother.
yeah, because it had to be, because I'm figuring, you know, I can't be angry, and my stuff wasn't right. You know what I mean? Like, my stuff wasn't right, and I'm sitting there trying to hide stuff and trying to, and that was exhausting. Like, I don't even know how people, when they do that DL stuff, I'm like, I don't know. That is exhausting to me to
Mm-hmm.
have to do that. Then you it end up with toxic masculinity, because now you're defending something that you know that you are doing, that the part, now you don't got caught. Now you got to act the fool.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not gonna do all this. Like, what am I doing? Now I done raised my pressure up. I ain't gonna do nothing but turn back around and do it again. What the what?
Right, right, right.
So
So at what point, because I know you said y'all met at 14,
mhm,
at what age did y'all have your daughter?
we were both 27.
Okay, okay, okay. So
Hmm.
at what point in that relationship, um, did she become aware or did she know that you were part of the community?
I think it was always in the back. You
Oh,
know how you just like, I'm not going. I'm just not gonna see it. I'm just not gonna look at it. I ain't gonna look at it. I ain't gonna look at it. And then I was staying in a hotel, and I remember it vividly. So, because I would, and this is weird, but I would always go to a hotel when I thought, I'm ready to unalive. So I would go to a hotel, and I'm sitting there trying to get the courage up. I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna figure this one out. And basically, I told her, and after I told her, everything was still a mess, and we still tried to make we still tried to make things work. So we still tried to because it was just like I was just reaching and grabbing for straw, like everything was just coming. It was coming apart at the seams, trying to hold on to, because I had like more than one relationship going on at the same time.
Okay.
So I got all of this stuff going on. Anxiety was really, I mean, it was at an all-time high, because I'm just like, I'm trying to juggle this thing. I got 2 cell phones, a pager. I'm like, this is getting on my nerve. And I was working at a salon. The salon, she would have, and I've never seen this before, this one stylist, I was her assistant, 20 clients in one day.
Wow.
I ain't never seen that before. And then I was the assistant, so I had to prep them, get them together. And I'm going to the salon. I have to be there at 7 a.m. I didn't leave till like sometime 10 or 12 midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would go out, and then I would come home in the morning, and then I was not getting that much sleep. So it was like maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And then I would sleep all weekend. And that was what would piss my ex off, because I'm sleeping all weekend.
Right.
So we got that going on. And I'm just like, this, like, it was wearing me out. And I'm sitting there trying to get medication, because I know that I was depressed or whatever. And I got put on the wrong medication. And that's what sent me to the hospital. I said, I'll be doggone. And I told the lady, because I was familiar with a certain serotonin reuptake inhibitor, and I said, I can't take this.
Okay. She
said, oh, you'll be fine. I ended up, and it's so funny how like a combination of things that'll push you over the edge, because the house that I have been raised in, it had caught on fire and burned down. I have an aversion to it fight. Well, see, because my aunt's house had caught on fire, and I saw it at a young age, and just seeing everything all burn up, and you know what I mean. And so that sent me over the edge. And then my cousin, she had got unalived by her husband, and then he did himself. And I got the phone call from a friend that was like, we have to go around there, because she was listening on her scanner. And we go around, and then we see all of the police, and we see the people with the booties on their shoes and going in. So that combination of all of that with that medicine and me not getting no sleep, I ended up going into the hospital.
Wow.
So it was just that combination.
A lot of trauma you went through, a lot of trauma. Wow.
Yeah. So it was like, what? And the relationship ended, that relationship with my cousin, it was the same thing going on. It was the same thing. It was like an octagon. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody was with, you know what I mean? And that's what blew it up. So it's like the same thing, and I'm doing the same thing. And I'm just like, oh, like, I'm like, come on. So I get there, and they checking me in, because I literally called my mother. I said, look, I'm ready to go. And she was like, you're ready to go? I said, yeah. So she was like, okay. She came in and got me, took me to the hospital. From that hospital, they put me in an ambulance, took me to the other hospital that I was going to be admitted in. And that's when they, start taking everything. Like they took, they take everything when you go in there. I mean, they take your belt and your shoes and just everything.
So like, wait, let me you went into a mental facility?
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I get there, and they're going through my backpack. They said, well, what type of work do you do? Because they see 2 cell phones, a pager. They thought that I was into something. I'm like, nah, I do hair. All of that mess was to juggle that crap, the other crap. You know what I mean? So once that happened, and I'm in there, and Then I talked to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Oh, you can't be on this medicine right here. You got to be on this one." And he changed the medicine. And then I'm telling him what I had gone through. And then he told me that the person that I was in a relationship with, which wasn't the mother of my child, but it was with this other, like this third, it was like three different people. But that third person that was getting on my nerve, he said they was full of, SH, whatever.
Right.
And so and I ain't never heard a doctor say that to me before. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
So, and then now that I think about it, it's just so crazy, because I'm like, man, you telling me this, and then I'm looking in retrospect, I'm full of that too, because I shouldn't have been in all this crap. This is what got me in here, is me. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. All the hiding and the deceit and the running around. Yeah, it drove you crazy. So
yeah.
I will say this: I commend you for whatever courage you had at some point to just physically come out and tell the mother of your daughter that, listen, this is who I am, and this is what it is. All I can say is like, wow, right?
Yeah.
And then she, y'all continue to kind of like, work things out or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot. So I know you told us about a lot of challenges, because there's a lot of people, like you said, with the men that's on the DL, it's so much going on. I mean, there's a lot that when I say, I don't mean everybody want to say this, but there's some athletes, professional people. I mean, everything you look at, that they're hiding who they are, and they're in relationships with a heterosexual relationship, but meanwhile, in the background, they're doing XYZ, and they don't, tell their partner that this is what they're doing. So it's just a whole lot of challenges. But now, today, like, how do you navigate the world that you're in, and are you finally comfortable, with being who you are?
Not completely.
Okay.
Because it's still, it'll be where some days I'm cool and some days I'm not, because I'll get triggered by it. It could be something political going on, or somebody will say something or whatever, and I'll look at, because you got all these people that's supposedly woke and all that crap and all that, and I'm just like, look, if you had to wake up and you look around and you like, wait a minute, because I had no representation, because they try to make like either somebody touched you or you saw it, or I had no representation at that age. I've never seen a gay person before at that age, not at no 4 years old.
Right.
So tell me what, and then they try to make like, oh, you're of the devil or God. Let me tell you, when I reached my hand out, why did he grab it? If he's not with me, why? When I got hit in the head with a hammer, why did he say, I could have been gone several times. Several times. I remember one time I go to the store. I went to and it was a Walgreens. I went in that store. I bought up all of the sleeping pills that I can get. Black girl was like, black lady, young lady. She said, you don't need those. Young girl. She said, she literally, and I'm just like, stop me in my tracks. Stop me. You can't, who was that?
God.
You know what I mean? So when they, you know what I mean? And then the blessings. So it's like, you can't, it's too many of them for me to discount it and say, oh, he's not looking out for me.
Right.
It's too many of them. Right. So,
yeah. You good to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate you. All right. Good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, when did you like speak to your daughter?
Oh, you mean about that?
Yes.
Woo, I don't know if she want me telling her business, but I will say we have a lot in common.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We have a lot of, like, me and her, she's like the female version of me.
Okay.
And so, yeah, and we talk about, when I tell you, she will text me and call me about when I tell you everything.
That's beautiful.
And it's just it's crazy.
That's beautiful. That's good enough. I get it and I connect with you. That's
Yeah,
beautiful though. I'm really happy for that, but I'm even more happy that you and the mom had your full circle moment. I think
yeah.
that's definitely a blessing in and of
Hmm.
itself. So listen, in case for the people that's just coming in, Kisahgi was a hairstylist at one time, okay? Entertainment industry.
Yeah,
He did it all, did it all. So
yeah,
talk to us a little bit about, the entertainment industry.
yeah. So I used to have little groups, little bands and stuff like that, and I would write. So my thing was I would take like because back in the day, like I think it might have been Silk Times Leather or something like that. They had a song, and I would just write lyrics, just kind of like write lyrics, and I was always writing poetry, but
Mm-hmm.
I would write lyrics and stuff, and I would just send the tapes out, just send stuff out to random record labels, and I was constantly copywriting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was going and working on this stuff and trying to figure things out, I ended up sending the tape off, and then it was WEA, which is Warner Electra Atlantic. They were like together.
Mm-hmm.
So then I got a call to go up there, and they listened to the tape. I don't understand. I didn't sing or anything, but they listened to the tape or whatever. And then I ended up being able to meet. It was a singer named Leah. Leah, she had a song called "Tell Me It's Not Too Late." She was produced by the same producers that produced In Vogue.
Mm.
So, and this is during, I guess, I'm pretty sure they was still in Timex Social Club at the time, because there was Timex Social Club, and then they went to Club Nouveau.
Okay.
So I ended up being able to see her perform and meeting her, and then I just continued on writing, continued doing what I was doing, and
Mm.
then I ended up signing a contract with a manager, and he wanted 100% of my publishing, and I signed it over
Mm.
stupidly, but it was an out clause. So if he couldn't get me a contract within a certain amount of time, I was able to get out of that contract. So he didn't do it. And I was able to get out, and he got none of my, publishing.
That's
I didn't even know, didn't know no better.
mm-hmm.
So, and that's how I ended up working in the industry. And then I ended up meeting a guy, and he was from my neighborhood. And this is the thing. It was my friend. She would go to where was she going? She would go. It was a warehouse downtown, and it was a Bootsy Collins protege. His name was Microwave,
Mm-hmm.
and she would go and party with him. And the producer, one of the producers that was producing that project, I wanted to meet him, and he was from the neighborhood that we all grew up in. And I wanted to meet him. She would never introduce me.
Mm.
I got wind of this club that he was at. And I'm thinking, I'm going to that club. Now, I was like 18. I'm like, I'm going to this club. I'm going. I'm getting in. I don't know how I'm going to get in, but I'm going. So I go in, got in. He's performing or whatever. Then they had an open mic. And I'm just like, ooh, they got an open mic. So I did a I'll Be Sure song. So I think it was all alone you get up on your own, girl. I think it was that.
Okay.
I think that's the song. So I did that, and I won. So won that, and then we ended up working together.
Okay.
Then we did a song called Physical Attraction. Um, we produced that. I sent the tape off to Dick Scott. Dick Scott was New Kids on the Block's manager at the
Mm.
time.
Okay.
So I come in, I was running the street or whatever, and I come in and I get a phone call, and persons like, may I speak to, because my nickname is Simi, may I
Mm-hmm.
speak to Simi? It's me, blah, blah, blah. He says, I got your tape. He said, what are you trying to do? I said, I want a record deal. He said, well, if you can give me 2 more songs like Physical Attraction, we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm looking around trying to go back to that producer. I can't find him. I'm like, where are you at? Like, I can't, he's completely off the map. Can't find him. In the meantime, I got in a singing group, and I started doing songs with them. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I said, I'm going to take one of these songs and I'm going to send it to Dick Scott. Totally was not the caliber. It's not the caliber. It wasn't the same, nothing. And it turned them cold. Fast forward, think several months had passed. Finally get in touch with Steve. He's like, and I done said his name. I didn't mean to say his name, but finally get in touch with him. He was like, I'm in Champaign, Illinois. I said, okay, this is what's going on. And this is the thing. You never let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Because I told him everything that was going on, that Dick Scott, blah, blah, blah. So he said, cool. So my mother drove me to Illinois. So I get to Illinois, get to the apartment complex that he was staying in. He's not there. His girlfriend is there. She said he's at the airport picking somebody up. He'll be right back. So he comes back. We all go to the studio, and in the studio is Joe Stone Street. And I'm just like, and I had never seen him before. I didn't know who he was. I'm just like, okay, so cool guy. So they're working on Champagne, the song, Maybe We Can Try Again. Okay, so they're working on their stuff. So they're working on their stuff. They're working on microwave stuff. And then they were working on my stuff. So all of this is happening simultaneously. So we would go out, we would work in the studio, we would go out at night, get plastered. Then we have to come back to that apartment, figure out, like, and I would try to make it to the couch. If I can make it to the couch first, then I know I have to sleep on the floor. So we would race. So between me and Joe trying to figure out, like, if I could get to that couch first, I know I'm sleeping on that couch. You know what I mean? And he got to sleep on the floor. So that's what was going on. That was a hot mess. And so this one particular day, we go to the studio, and this is the thing with Joe. He would get so inebriated, he would pass out. And then they would wake him up, and they did a remake of Average White Band, A Lover of Your Own. And Joe was singing that part, that infamous part, just that one little part. They woke him up. He went in that booth and blew that thing clean up out of the world. Like, he can just do that. Just that he was just that gifted to where he can just boom. And so I go in to do the work on my project, and he also did background on my project, and he rapped on my project too.
Okay.
So he did all of that. He never asked for any money or anything like that. But there was a tape that I left at the apartment one day. We were supposed to be working on something, and I used these words that I should have never used with a person that is insecure. But I said to my producer, I said, I assumed that you had the tape. He said, you assumed that I had the tape. And the next thing I know, he went off. He shut the lights out on me in the booth. He said, shut the lights out on that beat. All of this stuff. Now I got to sing in the dark. It was just a mess. And I was like 21 at the time. So I'm just like, this is crazy. I'm just like, I can't wait to get home. Like, I can't wait to get out of this, situation. And then I get to the daggone bus station on the last day, and two people almost jumped me in the daggone bus station. I said, oh God. I said, I can't wait to get home. And ironically, I was to leave from there, go home, and then go to see my siblings that I had never met. So all of that happened back to back. And I was 21 when I met my siblings.
Wow.
Yep.
Ooh. So was that your last time really taking part in the music industry, or
oh no.
Okay.
Oh no, it kept going. So then after that, I said, you know what? I said, I'm gonna start my own record label. So I ended up starting my own record label. It was just like my mother was like, here, boom. It gave me the money and I did the record label. And so the funny thing is, when I did Physical Attraction, from me doing that song, that led me to the people and the producer that I work with. His name was David Arps. That led me to his studio. And so he started working on stuff. He called in this guy named Aaron Turley. Aaron Turley was working on, production. And they called, I can't think of his name, his last name, Travis, I think Travis Lattimore. He was a piano player. But they started working on my stuff. And so I always liked Larry Blackman, that song, Why Have I Lost You cameo. And so I contacted the publishing and I asked for permission and they granted me permission. I signed the papers. I didn't even know what the heck that was about, you know what I mean? Like, but they literally gave me permission that, hey, you can use it. So I'm like, cool. So ended up doing that. And so the funny thing is, as we're producing everything and putting everything together, then I had to find the company that was going to press the records. I had to find a company that was going to make the cassettes. And as I was getting it mastered, because I had to take it to a company to get it mastered, which is a whole separate thing from the mix down. So, because a lot of people think when you hear somebody sing or you hear them play, that is what that's your end goal. That stuff has to have effects and different things and all kind of stuff is on there that make it sound, really good.
Right.
So as I get to go to get it mastered, he said, oh, this thing is out of phase. So I'm just like, what? He said, these wires have been switched. So he said, I could try to fix it as much as I can. So I go back to the studio. I'm like, look, these wires have been switched. Like, what happened? Like when y'all plug things back in, they wasn't done right when they did the mix down. So we literally had to roll because I couldn't very well. I would have had to recut stuff back over. It was just a mess, and then I didn't realize my producer, he was the same age as me. I don't know why I thought he was a little older than me, but some of these people were like the same age and like they still do. I mean, he had a whole 3-story house and a wife and kids, but you don't look at you look at that person as older sometimes because they got the whole thing going on.
Right.
And it was so crazy. So that happened and I ended up putting that out. And then I ended up meeting another producer. He was working on a song with my friend Dawn Woods. And Dawn, fabulous voice. So we ended up becoming friends actually through my friend Raphael. So we ended up meeting, or she ended up introducing me to a producer and we ended up working on stuff together. So from us working on stuff together, and producing, then we had a falling out because I wanted to be in on the mix down and he wanted to know where my money was coming from that was paying it. Ain't that crazy? So he literally took a bus to my job to find out where the money was coming from that I was paying him. And I look at us like, or we can be some, what I'm saying? And then we ain't have to worry about nobody else being mad at us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anybody of the other color. We ain't got to trip on that.
Right.
So, because David Arps, ironically, that put his heart and soul into it, that was a white man that put his heart and soul into my project.
Wow.
But then you had this person here, you got to find out. So then I turn around, I said, hey, I want to be in on the mix down. He said that he would shut all of this he has shut it all down. And I'm thinking, but I'm paying you.
Right.
You gonna shut my project down because I want to hear I want to hear the effect that you're putting on here. Like, I want to hear what you're doing. But then I thought to myself, I said, wait a minute, he don't drive. I drove him to the studio. I could push him out on the highway. So I start thinking, right, how can I get him out of here? That's crazy talk. But I said, how can I get him? I start thinking crazy because I wanted to really get him out of that car on a fast moving car out on the. Because I'm thinking, so that ended that. I said, oh, we gonna end that. Then my producer David Arps came to me. He was like, I have a young lady. She's just getting into production, and he said, can she learn? Can she practice on you?
Mm.
Can she, he said, I'll give you a discount if she could practice. I said, cool. So I ended up meeting Katrina Willis. So, and we call her Kat.
Mm-hmm.
So Kat came in, and her writing and her the way she produces, I mean, excellent. She is one of those people that I call just an unsung artist. She can sing her face off.
Mm-hmm.
She can sing, she can produce, she's amazing. So we end up working, and she heard the album that I did, and she said, why didn't this go anywhere? And I said, I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea, like why it didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So as we're sitting there working, she did background. She would chop up, like arrange my vocals. Like if I had too much stuff going on, she was doing all of that, helping me with that. And so we ended up doing a song that called Teardrops. We did a song called Freak on You. We did it was so many different songs. We was trying everything.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was working with her on her stuff, just like trying to be in live artist, doing background vocals.
Mm-hmm.
But she used me, but then she was like, it didn't work, and she had somebody else come in and whatever. And it could have been what was going on with me, because I was very manic. At
Mm-hmm.
that time, when I look at, I was manic. So I wasn't level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she can see something off, because she was really into the Bible too, and she knew something's not right with him. So fast forward, she leaves and she goes to Atlanta. So I talked to her, and she said, well, they said all the stuff that we did is garbage.
Wow.
So she had to start from scratch, just trying to build up everything. So I'm just like, okay. So as that was going on, fast forward, it was like had to be maybe a couple of years later, because we would talk back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to get the Best Man soundtrack. I'm listening to it, and I kept playing this one song
Best
over and
Man,
over and over.
the Best Man in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I kept playing that soundtrack over and over. I kept playing, it was a song by Latasha Scott.
Okay.
And I'm playing it over and over. And I'm like, these vocals, I said, something sound familiar, because I'm used to this voice.
Mm.
I looked at the credits, and it's Katrina. She wrote the song, she did the background vocals, and I called her. I said, you didn't tell me that you was working with Latasha Scott.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, yeah. She said, but we're not working together no more. And I don't even want to go into the reasons why, but
Wow.
So then she ended up working with Shantae Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, she ended up working on Candy's very first solo album.
Wow.
So I looked at the credits there, because I know my friend's voice, and if I hear it, like I know it.
Right.
And the funny thing is that this is the gag with this. She sounds very similar to Latasha Scott. So when you hear that first Candy album, you'll swear that Escape is singing background up, but it ain't.
Wow.
Because she still added that element.
Mm-hmm.
She had that element of, putting that thing on there. And so that's how that happened. And so she ended up working, and she's worked with like she's written for Luther, Aretha Franklin. She's won the Grammys. She's worked with a lot of Charlie Wilson. She's worked with a lot of different people. And I contacted her. I was like, look, can I put Teardrops out? Because I was like very lyric. I didn't even put her in the book at all, because I felt funny. Like, I'm like, what is she gonna think? Like, what is if she comes from a musical family? Her and my Prime McKnight are cousins.
Oh.
So I'm just like,
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So if you were still like in the industry heavy like that and working, who is someone that's an artist today that you would want to work with?
Whoa. Duran Bernard. Duran Bernard, Rasan Patterson, Um, who? Uh, I'm trying to think. Layla Hathaway.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. So this might be a good place to interject this because
Mhm,
before we transition out of the whole entertainment and music industry. Um, and I know you talked about, your masters and, all of that. I think a lot of them individuals, they have to really read their contracts because that's a lot of pain for a lot of these artists, especially when they're up and coming. Um,
mhm.
but would you like to give us a little something with your voice there before we transition out
Uh,
area?
yeah, yeah, because I had like it's the song "Good Day and Good Night." This is when I was going through it, but it was like looking at the scenery like it's the last. Everything is beautiful, but a gray cast covers me. Mm, I want to go through with this. I'm afraid I'm a coward to say good day to you. Good night to them, you and yours. But that's just a little bit of that.
Oh, I like it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Nice voice, nice voice, nice voice. Okay, so as you was doing your hair, right? Being a hairstylist, I know you must have witnessed like the transformative power of self-expression through appearance, right? Um,
Mhm,
a lot of us, are here. Not saying it makes us, but it's a
mhm,
part of us, right?
mhm.
And like you said, you had that young lady have very long hair, and just like that, the wrong process, and now her
Yeah.
hair was like falling off in the same. How has this influenced your personal journey and the theme in your book?
Um, just how did it influence? Just you mean just with the like hair and
Well, just like being able to express yourself. I know some of us it takes our hair, some of us it's just different things in which we could express yourself. And you have such your background is a lot, right? Because
Mhm.
you survived this addiction thing. And how many years sober
uh,
today?
10.
10
It'll
years?
be October the 4th will be 10 years.
October 4th will be 10 years. So congratulations on that.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
as I was reading your book and I read all the different things, like you said, you had so many. It was the alcohol, it was the substances, it was this, it was that.
Mhm,
I was like, wow, there's some people that struggle just getting off one. You had all of these layers to it. So,
mhm,
hair transformed some people. You had to transform yourself to learn how to not look back to those things to, give you what you needed in life and now
mhm.
survive without them. So, talk about that.
Yeah, so I've always been into like motivational stuff, like reading Brian Tracy and Zig Ziglar, Wayne Dyer, and then I got introduced to Abraham Hicks, and so and I was always searching. So,
Okay.
so I was always searching, always trying to, and I'm thinking, okay, it's got to be a way to where this is not the end of it. Like this can't be. Like I have to figure this out because I'm like I don't want to go away and then come back and have to repeat this over. Like I didn't want to repeat the same cycle over again. I'm like this is crazy. So that's the thing. And then it was a combination of because what got me sober. This is a combination of things that happened. So that was going on as far as me trying to be more spiritual
Mm-hmm.
and just and trying to accept the cards because I'm just like I got to accept the cards. You got to accept it. It's like I don't know what you're gonna do, but you got to figure out how you're gonna do it because it ain't no other way.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, so I accept this. Okay, so now how am I gonna find a positive somebody to represent that community who I am positively? Who who am I gonna find? So I literally it was this guy named Obio and I found his channel, and I'm like, ooh, he's sort of like me normal, like it's just like not, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, so and I just started leaning in on that, but with the addiction part, I kept getting very. bad, like migraines. And
Mm.
I didn't understand what was going on. So one day I woke up, took a shower, everything was cool, and nothing. And all at once, migraine. And
Mhm.
then I started smelling like the alcohol coming out of my body.
Mm.
And I said, something's wrong. I said, something's not right. Something, and I immediately I knew something's not right. I had to stop, and I stopped that day. Like I'm like, okay, something's not right. I don't know what I did, but and I went to work, and I was able to work late that day because they will give us days to where you can work till like 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
Because back in the day, we used to work till 1 in the morning. Like we could stay in there and run their water and their electric up all night long.
Mhm.
And this salon, they had a rule: you better be out of here by 8 o'clock on or whatever. You're not gonna be running this stuff up late. So Thursday was that late day, and I remember it. And I stayed, and I said, okay, I started drinking around about 10. So
Mm.
I'll start working, and I'll finish. I'll start cleaning up around about 10. I'll get up out of here about 10:30, about 11 o'clock. I'm gonna be past the hour. I was past that hour because I had to literally break the pattern. And I was on a mission to break that pattern. So
Mm.
once I broke that pattern, I'm like, I'm good, right? I thought I was good to the next day.
Mm.
That next day, that anxiety hit me, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? Because I didn't know what. This thing went on for 6 weeks straight. I said it was anxiety. And it gripped you. It would be fear. It will be everything is hitting you all at once, and you don't know what is going on because there's nothing in the room that you should be scared of.
Mhm.
So to have that happening to me, and then I'm shaking, I was shaking. I didn't know what was going, and it was a result of me cold turkey. And I didn't know I was supposed to be in the hospital. I didn't know I was supposed to go to the hospital. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there
Mhm.
thinking I'm doing something. So I'm
Right.
sitting there doing all this crap. And and then okay, so a year goes by, and I'm just like, oh, and I was still feeling like crap. Then 2 years go by. I said, oh God, like I'm still in a daze. It took some years for that thing to even out. I
Mm.
said, this is a mess.
Mm. Mm.
I
So
said,
your
what am I
body
gonna
was
do?
used to it for all of those years.
Yeah, because I remember like on my first job, I worked at a salon. I didn't even have no license yet. I had a work permit. And I was working, and I had been partying. I partied that Friday, and I get to work on a Saturday. And this lady, God bless her, she had everything caked up in there, and I had to base her scalp, getting ready to put a relaxer. And
Mm.
once I peeled that scalp on, and them fumes, they had to take me up off that lady head because she almost got a head full of something else. Because I'm just like, I can't now. I'm sick.
Mm.
They
Mm.
had to take me away. She said, is this, she gonna sit there and get an attitude? Is there a problem? I'm thinking, lady, you didn't even shampoo your hair like on a regular basis.
Mm.
I'm like, now I'm about to be sick on you. And I was number 17. I'm like, I can't with you, like,
Wow.
lady, like you got to take me up off of here. Like,
Mm-mm. Wow.
yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, inspiration to many that can still be in the throes of it.
Hmm.
Know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's light
Yeah.
at the end of the tunnel. And
Yep.
you can get out of this thing, no matter how young you are, no matter how old you are. You can get out of this thing and just become sober. A
Yeah.
lot of times when they people are in addiction, they say you cannot hang around or go back to the places you used to go because those can all be triggers. Did you have to cut off a lot of your friends?
Woo, I cut off so many daggone people. I cut them off. Look, they got so mad. Like some people really, and one in particular, she's I shouldn't even, she's of the cloth. That's
Mhm.
all I'm gonna say.
Uh-huh.
And she, somebody will, you might tell a person something, this is supposed to be your good friend,
Hmm.
and they will hold on to that. It ain't got nothing to do with them though. You just telling them, you just talking, and
Mm-hmm.
then they spray you with it. And I'm thinking, what are you getting mad for? Because it was basically, I was telling this person I was done with my ex, like I'm done with her, I'm done with her,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because she kept trying to get us to get back together,
Mm.
which tells you now this is the oddity of it. Now this is a woman. You know what I do, you know what I'm about,
Mm.
but you want me to get you want me to get back with my ex though.
Mm.
But you know what it is.
Right.
I got to look at you all kind of sideways with this.
Absolutely.
Okay, because you know what the heck. And when I resisted, when I said no, I'm done, I ain't going back. And then I said a couple of choice things, about my ex that I shouldn't have said, but it was through the phone or whatever. And it
Mm.
was a couple of facts. Oh, she got mad. Oh, she started spraying me with things that wasn't even true about me. And
Mm.
I'm like, wait a minute now, where is this coming from? Like, you act like I offended you. Y'all not even friends. Like, you're not friends with my ex. What's going on here?
Right.
So that was going on. Big old, it wasn't even an argument. I'm just like, and then it came out. You always got what you wanted. You always, because my mother spoiled me. You always, and I'm thinking, oh, so that's what it is. Because I always got, and you looked at that and you were resentful of that all these years from me being a child, from me growing up in middle school, not middle school, junior high school when I met her. You've always been resentful of this. What are you talking? What are we doing here?
Right.
And we're way grown.
Mm.
And you resentful of that. Like, I can't help what my mother did for me.
Right.
Like, I can't, what are you talking about? Like, I'm an only child. It's like 5 of y'all. What are you talking about? So that was one of the things. And I just cut it. I had to just cut stuff off.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Because it was just like, and the funny thing is too, thank God I had the wherewithal. Because when they had that cracked up powder out,
Mm.
there was something, because I got a hold of it one time
Okay.
and I wasn't familiar. It was in some marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed, because we were all sitting around, and it was the D-boy was there because he was letting everybody sample, I guess, trying to get extra customers,
Mm.
whatever. I didn't know, I was at a friend's house. Everything's going around, and it gets to me. I got one time in there, and then it come back around to me again, and I dropped it in a glass of gin.
Mm.
So then I'm thinking, I got a blow dryer in my car. I can blow dry this thing dry, right?
Mm.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, that's the dumbest thing that you could ever. The next thing I know, we burning our fingers on this, with the blow dryer, like we're
Yeah.
burning our hands, right? So that I kept that in my mind. I said, now you see what just happened? This thing literally told you to light it back. It told you to dry me out, light me up. It told you all of these things. This thing
Mm.
led
That's
you to
all
not
it
have no impulse
did. Ooh.
control. So you gonna do now, if that stuff can take you from 0 to 100
Mm-hmm.
within a matter, because my car was right out there. So
Mm.
you told yourself, so when in that movie New Jack City, when he was sitting there saying, if he calling me, it ain't no lie.
It calls you.
It will call, and you don't even know, it ain't even said your name. It
Mm.
ain't said your name. It ain't said no nothing. And that was the end of that. That was the first and the last. I said, nah, I said, look, if I'm gonna dance with the devil, I'm gonna pick the song. I ain't
Woo.
doing it. I ain't doing that. Like, let
Mm.
me do something else. I ain't doing
Right.
that.
Right.
Cause nah.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. But that's the thing too, not to hold everything longer, but
yeah,
that's
no,
the
fine.
thing when when people pointed out my differences too, of course that backed me up into hiding. You know
Mm.
what I mean? That backed me up into hiding, because like when I open the book up and I talk about that singer that was in that group in Shalimar or whatever.
Yeah.
I met him when I was only 14 years old,
Wow.
and it was at a record store that his cousins and my friend, they owned that store. and literally you can feel the vitriol coming off him, to where he just didn't like the energy. He didn't like me. He didn't like, beautiful voice. He had a beautiful voice. It couldn't stand me. So just to deal with that. And then I was the type of person where I tried to belong in spaces I didn't need to be in. So, I was trying to please, kind of, what can I do? What did I do wrong? Blah, blah, blah. You're trying to please, trying to whatever. And then I was supposed to go to Japan, and I wasn't able. My mother was like, "You're not going to Japan." And then to find out you're way over in Japan talking about me. And it's like that, that pissed me off. Just singing in and I don't even know, I told you about I got paid $25 one time. I sang background for a major recording artist. $25 check. And I had to find my way back home. I said, this is great. So it just kind of like, it kind of reinforces, especially if you have low self-image, you like, oh, it reinforces it. It's like, I only need you for this. And then after that, I don't want to use you for I don't want you.
Kind of kick you to the curb.
Yeah. Because they
the insult.
Yeah. They wanted to they tried to take the vocals. They tried to steal them. And literally he told me, we tried to take them, but they were distorted. So the label heard me do the demo, and it was Epic Records. It was Orpheus, which is distributed by Epic. So it was Melba Moore's husband owned that label. And so they heard that demo and they were like, oh, we need him on these backgrounds.
Right.
And it's for Eric Gable. So if you ever heard of Eric Gable, it was for him. So I ended up, they sent a car for me. They took me to the studio, and it was a whole bunch of shenanigans that it was terrible when I got in there. I said, this is a mess. I mean, and I couldn't even look. Like, I just looked at the floor the whole time. I said, this is just a mess. So it just reinforced it, and I don't know if I would have made it in the industry, but I would have had to, first of all, I would have had to put up a facade in order to assimilate to normality, right? So I would have had to do that. That would have been an issue, because you see how some of these artists are losing contracts, or they end up on stuff and out in the street and all kind of stuff because they couldn't be who they were.
Right.
So that would have been an issue. I have stage fright. That's another issue.
Okay.
So you got all of these things that's adding, and then it end up being a mess.
Wow.
Trying to assimilate, trying to please, trying to put on the image, trying to, so that's why I said,
not be who you are.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't know for a fact, but it kind of played out in some of the biopics that they did of Whitney Houston. But some say, that was part of her issue too. Because they kept staring her to be something she was not. She wanted to do her music and be herself, and they kept pushing a certain image that was going to sell. Yeah. It's a lot.
Because it happened with Tevin Campbell. You know what I'm saying? That issue, because he had a whole bunch of stuff that happened. Because he was sitting there hiding it, but he was doing, and police and everything like that, and undercover stuff was going on. And then you had Kenny Green from Intro. Because he's gone now.
Wow.
Because he's the one, he wrote Real Love. He could sing his face off, but he's gone.
Yeah.
So you have all of it. And that's another thing too that I was always very aware of. I said, I do not want to bring any dirt home to my ex.
Right.
So I was very cognizant of that. I'm just like, nah, we ain't finna do this. Like, we ain't finna do this. So I was very aware, because a lot of people, they act like they tricked up and fell into something, right? It's like, no, you knew what you were going to do. And then they'll use, oh, that's the reason why they didn't use nothing. Because so if they weren't prepared for it, that means they weren't aware of it going to happen.
Right.
So that's where you have the issue of all of the infections.
Yeah.
and different things, because they say if I was not prepared for it, and it just by happenstance.
Happened.
Now I'm not responsible for. Yeah, you responsible for it, because what was the tape that was playing in your mind? There
Right.
was a tape that was playing there long before.
Yes.
So that's where I look at people sometimes like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's if that's what you want to say, you can, but that ain't
So
it.
many people get hurt when that happens. So
Yeah,
many people get hurt.
and I felt guilty the whole time. Like some people can literally do that and not feel like I did not feel good.
Hmm.
So when people try to say or put things into your mind where you knew and you this and you blah blah blah, no, you don't know the tape. You don't know the things that was playing in my brain. Like I had to medicate just to numb that thing out, just to numb it, like where I ain't got to think about it. I ain't got to think about what I did. I ain't got to worry about, like, I don't want to think about that no more. So
Do you think, just saying that right there, what you just said, do you think maybe that was the gateway to the kind of substances, the alcohol, the this that you try to use? Because maybe
mhm,
unconsciously, so to speak, right? You was always trying to numb the noise in your head about
mhm,
feeling different and what is this? Because society is
yep,
telling me it's supposed to be XYZ. And
yep,
in my body, mind, and soul, I'm feeling a different way. Uh,
yep,
yeah.
yep, exactly. Because it was just I couldn't, I just couldn't. You know what I mean? Even if you like say you mention it to you just casually, and you just see them lock up.
Mm,
You'll see them lock down. I'm just like, oh God, like here we go.
right.
You know,
I can't open up with
you,
this person. Right.
yeah, because
Yeah.
even with my producer, he didn't know none of this stuff was going on. As I'm sitting there reading the book, just doing the audible and everything, he was tripping the
Mm,
whole time. And here I done worked with him for over 20 years. He was tripping the whole time.
wow.
And I'm just like, and he is so excellent in what he does. He went to school with what is his name? Kevin Eubanks, I think. Is that his name?
Mm,
Or I think that's his name. He played on one of them Tonight Show. He's a instrumentalist. I can't think of what he did, but
okay.
he went to college with those people, like at Berkeley and all of that.
Okay.
So, and then I end up working with him. He moved back here, and then I end up working with him. And it's just like I'll meet one producer, and then that producer introduced me, and I ended up working with him for years. And I said, well, let me go here to do the audible. But he didn't know anything about the alcohol, the drugs, he knew nothing the
Mm,
whole time. And I'm like, how did you not know this? Like, you didn't know anything when I was coming in here, like, at all. He
mhm,
didn't know none. He didn't know none of it.
mm,
You know. And I'm sure, like, I know Katrina might have had an inkling, maybe a little bit,
mhm.
but she didn't say anything. Now, other producers knew, but other than that,
I think
nobody else.
it's a hard thing to address, right? And
Mhm.
a lot of people don't know how to somebody said the Jay Leno show, if they're correct. That's where the
Yes,
is, yeah, the Jay Leno show. Uh
yes.
I think a lot of people, like, you don't know how to approach it.
Hmm.
You can see a friend, a family member going down a certain path, because a lot of them get very defensive when you do try to approach it.
Yeah.
I had a very good friend that I went to college with. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. Definitely could have been a model, just tall. I mean, think she was like 6 feet tall. I mean, even when we would go out together, like just going to lunch or whatever, like people would stop and
Hmm.
be like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful." Um,
Hmm.
and when I had my son, she came to visit me, and as soon as I saw her, I didn't know what it was, but I was like, something just don't seem right. Her skin was
Hmm.
gray. Um, and I mean, this flawless skin, just gorgeous, right? Her skin was gray. She just wasn't looking right. Um,
Yep.
so when we went to breakfast the next day, and I did kind of like try to approach the situation, she never spoke to me again after that.
Mm. Yeah. Because it gets, you know, it can get rough. I don't, and this is the funny thing though, with my mother,
Mm-hmm.
she would always tell me, because my father was an alcoholic.
Oh,
So she would always, and I kept that out because I said, I don't want to use that as an excuse
right.
that because you have the blueprint, you know what I mean? Like I didn't want to use that as an excuse, but my father was.
Mm.
And he died at like he was like 56 years old.
Young.
But he had the problem. My mother would always drill that into me.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather had the problem, her father.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was raised in a house where my uncle was one.
Mm.
So it was all it was all around. Like it was all around. So I but I tried not to use that as an excuse because I knew the blueprint.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, it's like somebody giving you the answers. So now you can't do that. It's like they gave you the blueprint. They gave you the answer. They told you this is what is in the history.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that you cannot, or
You
you
don't
risk.
want to try it.
Mhm.
Because you don't know how you're going to react to it, but you at least know this. You got family members that went down that path and it didn't work well for them. But
Yep.
as somebody who's been in it, and like I told you, when I spoke to my girlfriend, that conversation did not go well, and we was in a public restaurant. I mean, it
Mm.
did not go well at all. But you know what? As friends or family members, you don't know what to say and how to approach it, right? I thought I
Yep.
was doing it the right thing in the right way, but it didn't go.
Yep.
But
Yep.
do you think though, even in the midst of it, when you was heavy in it, do you think there's any friend or family member that could have said anything to you that would have made a difference?
Hmm. You know, if they could have got to the cause of it,
Mm,
like if it would have went to, I know who you are. I know what the struggle is. I know. Like if they went to that, don't go to the substance. Go to what caused me to medicate.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
so if you go to there, then I can develop they can develop an understanding that okay, now we got to work our way out.
got
How
you.
we gonna wake up? How we gonna work our way out? So how we gonna, instead of going attacking the situation, because I'm telling you, I used to take pennies, like because it was like 99 cents to get a 40 ounce. I
Uh-huh.
would take that daggone, and that was back in the day.
Right.
Would gather all them pennies up and throw all this stuff on their cash register, and it was so funny. One of the main people that was they end up in all kind of stuff. They was the main one talking stuff
Mm,
about me, and I'm thinking, and to this day, they are under and I'm like, wow, to this day.
mm,
But but it was just something to say.
mm-hmm,
It wasn't to help me though, because I knew where the energy, like where you were coming from, was from a loving place. Where
mm-hmm,
this person was coming from, what
right.
it was just a ridicule, yeah. But yeah, like because my cousin that I was close to, he knew that every time I disappeared,
Mm-hmm,
like I wouldn't go around anymore. He knew like, oh, he's doing something.
mm,
He's doing something. And my thing was, I was always the type of person where those substances gave me energy.
mm,
So like I was never a upper. Like I didn't like up.
mm-hmm,
Like I always took stuff for down.
mm,
So yeah, because it just it gave me energy. So
mm,
yeah, that
mm,
was the weirdest thing. And then the thing was too, I would get stuff like pills, and now I look at it as a blessing because people are getting pills and it's killing them
mm-hmm,
because they don't know what's pressed.
mm-hmm,
They don't know what's pressed in there.
mm-hmm,
So the think of that, and I'm sitting there taking things. I don't, because some of that stuff that I got didn't come in a bottle.
right.
I don't know what's in here, and I'm sitting there taking. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But one time I found a bag of marijuana on the ground. And I smoked that. Like, what? Who
Yeah.
does that in the parking lot of White Castle? Anything could have been in that. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like over 20 some years. I'm like, oh, anything could have been in that. I'm like, ooh, I done hit a lick and jumped in the car and drove away. I'm like, this is crazy.
Crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. But definitely I will say this. I mean, from reading your book, yeah, the angels, God, and everybody you can name was watching over you for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. To God be the glory.
Yes.
God be the
Because
glory.
and that's the thing. Sometimes I just look at it, I look at stuff, I try to appreciate, you know what I mean? I try to really appreciate and just appreciate, where he brought me from and took me down. I do get resentful though when I look at, like I look at the different things, the accolades and stuff that the people I don't work with, they'll have an album or something to come out or whatever. Just like I said, like with Katrina, I'll be like, hey, but then I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready.
You wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready.
You
And
wasn't.
so and now it's to the point where I don't even want to, you know what I mean? Like I don't even want to fool with it because like I worked on a project and it got introduced to this girl named Dina Philpott.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, it wasn't nothing but a year, if that. She ended up on Reprise Records, and she ended up recording with Curtis Blow. So they end up remaking the breaks, and they end up on Arsenio Hall show and all of that. And I'm just like, and it was just wow seeing her. Like I'm like, you were just in the studio with me. You laid down a rap on my stuff. Then you end up in a group. The group was called Not Enough. She ended up in that group, and then I was just like, this is crazy. And so I ended up going. We had a record store in the mall. They were doing signings. So I end up going there. She put on that daggone picture. Do not let anyone hear that tape. Like that was like because she was cussing up a storm on that rap. And they end up on Arsenio Hall show and everything like that. Now, in stark contrast, I happen to be working in the salon right next to Dairy Queen. I leave to go to Dairy Queen. There she is with her group mate. And they ordering food, we speak. And then they get in this Oldsmobile that needed a new muffler. And that shook me up. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. I just saw y'all on TV. If this car needs a muffler, it's old. What? It just didn't compute. Like the two thing, I'm like, this is crazy. What?
Starving artists. It
I'm
is
like,
so many of them.
I'm like, what the? I'm like, but y'all on a major platform, like, so, that's the thing when we kind of don't know and we think that, oh, you sign a contract and you get all the millions and you get, and it don't always work out that way. Like, you don't even know the contract that they signed and you don't know what, and you see the video, like they literally have videos out and everything. Like you go on YouTube anywhere and see the videos. I'm just like, wow. But that was an eye opener. I'm like, whoa. So
I think you know what, when it comes to the industry, and I'm talking about no matter if it's music, it's acting, like the Writers Guild right now, I feel like it should be just illegal to rip someone off to the level that a lot of these people are ripping the people off at. I don't know how these people sleep at night. I really don't. Yeah, I really don't know how these people sleep at night. And I think it's so sad. And and it happens in corporate America too. It happens at these different Targets, Walmart, whatever. It happens everywhere where you got the executives are like, they don't have to worry about anything. They can send it to whatever school, they could do whatever they want. And then you have the people that are breaking their backs, working hard every day, and they got to beg for a 50-cent raise. It's just sad. It's just really sad. Give me 1 second. Everybody listen. I do have a book to get away. Okay. There's so much more in this book that we did not even get to discuss in this interview. Okay. I just want to tell you, amazing book. Just brave, so brave to tell your story. You know how some of us, it's hard for us to even tell our friends because like you were saying, you know, you tell your friends and only to find out later on that these people were holding it in the back of their chest. And the minute they get mad at you, they're spraying it on you. I like that word you use. They
Oh
spray
yeah.
it on you, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't like when people do that. It's like, you know, we all need someone to talk to. And
Hmm.
so when my friends tell me something, it dies inside me. I'm not, even if I never speak to you again or we fall out, I'm not telling your business. That's
Yeah,
not
cause
what I want to do.
yeah, cause that's how I am too. And it was just a lot of and I understand as far as the resentment was boiling over to everything. It was like the jealousy. It was the fact that I got clean. You
Mm,
know, I saw you this way. I don't see you that way. I see you messed up. I don't
right.
see you getting your stuff together. I don't see you having no good, and they already had a negative feeling about, men in general anyway. They
Mm-hmm.
just had this thing. And I'm like, well, but wait a minute now, you wasn't saying this when you getting $500 from me and this, that, and the third. You getting
Right.
this money, you
Uh,
ain't, but there's no problem here.
right.
But now you think you can talk to me any old kind of way. And now that I have clarity, now you won't be mad. Because now I got clarity on, okay, nobody should be talking to me that way and treating me that way.
Right, right. So, Carrie, you said, can I drop the link for you to purchase a book? I'm gonna put the link. You can get it on Amazon. It is on Audible. You said right, Kisahgi.
Yes,
Right, it's on
yes,
Audible also, and I am giving away this one free copy that I have. You want this free copy? Email me. The first email that I get that comes through my email. I will give you the book and I will mail it to you. So let me put my email in here. But for all others, you can get the book on Amazon. It is an excellent read, right? And let's support. We have Kisahgi here that been through it
hmm,
all, and is now 10 years sober. To
yep,
God be the glory. God
yes,
can do it. God can do it. And
yep,
I'm just, and Leah, always thank you. You always so free to share your story. She said 28 years sober. Congratulations
yes,
to you also. Listen, anybody out there that's struggling with anything, your recovery can come. And we are definitely praying for you and your recovery. And
yes.
anybody out there that's in, whether you're a day sober, you got to take this thing one day at a time. Whether
Oh
you're a
yeah,
day sober, a year sober, or 10 years. We're
yep,
rooting for you. We're rooting
yep,
for you. To
hmm,
all the family and friends that have somebody that's in this situation, pray for them.
yep,
Pray for them.
yep,
Pray for them. God bless your mother. And any friend you had that stood by you and that is still standing by you to today. You got a lot of talent in you, and God saved you and
oh
kept
yeah,
you for a very good reason.
yep.
You
Thank you.
got to keep writing. You got to keep writing. I know you said you're into the poetry. I may have to hit you up. You may have to rewrite my theme song for my channel.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I got the two other books too that are
Yes,
out.
tell them about your other books. Tell them about your other books. Every place we can purchase your books, and I'm
Yeah.
going to add your social media to the description of this video. So go ahead, tell them that.
Oh yeah, so I have Wicked, Volume One, and
Mhm.
then Two of a Kind, Payback is a B, Volume Two. So those two go together.
Okay, wonderful, and they're out now on Amazon also.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
beautiful. Okay, guys, so you heard that. I will make sure I will update the description box with all of this information. Support Kisahgi and his writing. Just an amazing job. I'm so glad you came to us today. Before I close out, I do want to say, what do you want people to get from Free Like Me, Surviving Edition? What do you really want
Um,
people to get from this?
I want them to get. I want them to know that they are not by themselves. That you have to really get clear
Mm,
on what your intention is for you, like what your intention is for you,
mm,
not what other people want, not to please everybody, not to what is the intention that you want for you, and what is the legacy that you want to leave behind.
ooh,
What is it? So you have to figure those main things out, and it definitely is not going to be the addiction and the drugs and it's not going to be that. So once you get clear
mhm,
on that,
mhm.
then you can start just unpacking. So you want to just start unpacking.
Right.
And once you start unpacking and you figure out, okay, because we go to the substance,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to go to what the substance is the band-aid. What are you trying to cover? So
Yes.
let's go. We're gonna heal from the inside out first. So we're gonna go there first, and then we're gonna figure out what the issue is first.
Mm-hmm.
So is it my self-esteem is low? Do I feel like I'm not validated? Do I feel like I need what is this area that I need to fill up? What is
Mm-hmm.
and then okay, so now I see that. Now what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna look for somebody else to fill it up. I'm gonna fill it up first.
Ooh.
So then you just gonna be something added on later on. If you so choose to join me on the journey or whatever, that's cool. But I'm gonna be complete first. I'm not gonna look to nobody to fix it because I got to fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Ooh, I love that. I
yeah,
love that. Oh my God, you were awesome.
yeah. Thank you.
True. You're welcome. Thank you. I really do appreciate you. Truly, truly appreciate you for coming here, for sharing your story, because I know it's not easy. I
Mhm,
know it's not easy. I commend you for telling your truth.
mhm,
And I encourage any other male out there that's on the down low. And listen, sometimes it could be a female.
mhm.
You pretending that you
Oh, I'm
want to be
working on some stuff on that.
okay now.
I'm
You
working on a book
pretend
on
there
that.
you go. You pretending you want to be in this heterosexual relationship when you know that's not what you want.
Right.
We all got to be honest with each other. That's what's
Oh
going to
yeah.
make the world a better place to live in and
Yep.
maybe hope stop some of these shenanigans that are
Oh
going
yeah.
on out there in the streets. You are welcome back here anytime.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
you have 100% of my support. I do
Thank you.
appreciate you. And I know we connected with some people that was out here watching today. So
Mhm,
thank you guys. I will announce later on who will be getting this copy of the book. But again, guys, go to Amazon. You can make the purchase of this book or his two other books that he has. I will make sure I update the description with everything. This book is also on Audible, so you can drop it on Audible. And while you're driving in your car,
mhm,
you go on places. That's a lot of times when I listen to my Audible. Okay, when I'm driving,
mhm.
I listen
Yep.
to 30 minutes here, get back in the car. Sometimes I can't wait to hear the next part that's going on. Audible is amazing. I love
Oh
Audible
yeah.
because I get through a lot of material because of
Mhm.
Audible, right? Um,
Yep.
so guys, support. And Kasaji, just tell them really quickly where they can follow you at, what social media handles.
They can follow me on Kisahgi Sims at on YouTube,
Oh, good.
just on YouTube and Amazon. Because what happened, I didn't link up as far as with this name on my
Okay.
Instagram
Okay.
and my Facebook. But if they do go on there, they can follow me under Mazani Anderson
Okay.
on both of those. But
Okay.
I market all of my books and things under Kisahgi Sims.
Okay, which makes sense because, like you said, I do when I think of that first thing that you changed it to, I think of the hair products.
Yeah,
Okay,
the product, yeah,
yeah,
because it's
I
gonna
think
it's
it
gonna
was very
overpopulate.
big. Yeah, very big. I want to say, what was it, the 80s or whatever?
Uh-huh. Yeah, like
Yeah,
not going into like the 90s.
yeah. Because I used to go
Yeah,
to hair shows and everything.
yeah.
Those were the days.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I want to do an autobiography, basically, and just talking about how I got into hair,
Okay.
because that was because it was from the curl coming out, and I was more so fascinated with the chemical, just fascinated with how it deconstructed and reconstructed the curl pattern.
That's
That's what gave me the passion for it, because looking at that and I didn't understand, like I was trying to get an understanding of that chemical. So
mm-hmm.
that's what drew me to hair.
Oh, I did it all.
Yep,
Braids, jerry curl, perms, color. When my
yep.
hair first went gray, I thought I was gonna pass out.
No.
Like literally pass out. No, no, listen, I used to get close to the mirror and like cause it don't come, it's not like it's overnight, your whole
Right,
hair's gray.
right,
Like I said, oh my God, is that a gray hair? Pluck. I
right.
literally plucked it out of my head. I was like, oh no. So mine came around the sides first. So I
Yep,
was a bob at the time. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. The bob was hiding it.
yep,
When it started getting more, I was like, oh my God, I'd like to die.
yep, yep, yep.
It did, but you know what? It was one of my stylists. She finally said to me, she said, Diva, she said, your hair is not accepting this perm in the color.
Um,
She said it's not. She said, and I don't want to sit here and try to pretend and keep doing this to you. I said, she said it's not. She said you gotta make a decision. She said
Yep.
it's the perm or the color. I let
Yep.
go of the perm, okay, because I was dead set on this color. I let go of the perm, and then finally she was like, "Why you so like? Why won't you just let your hair go gray?" She said, "I think your face would be fine with it, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ah. One day I'm in Harlem with my dad, visit my dad. I walked by this barber shop and I was like, I'm done.
Yep.
I'm done. And I went in the barber shop and I said, take it off. He said,
Yep.
take it low. I said, no, take it all off. He said,
Yep.
are you sure? I'm like, I'm positive. I went bald. I never went back. And I was
Yep.
when it grew back in, I didn't color, I didn't anything. I just embraced it. So shout out to all the good stylists out there that are
Yep.
true with the clients and don't want to harm our hair, want to help us grow these hair and get now I'm working on my curl pattern, just like
Oh yeah.
back in, because it
Yep.
takes time when your hair is so used to. Because then I got
Yep.
stuck on braids for a very long time. I was addicted to braids, like
Mm-hmm.
addicted.
Yep.
Like this, I would
Yep.
get the braids, take them out. I would go wash and trim my hair, and I'd be right back at the braid salon.
And right back. Yep.
Within 2 days, boom, I was there. I would be
Yep.
not put dead in the streets without my braids. Okay.
Yep. That's how I was with the curl.
Yeah.
I
Dead
was like that with that curl.
Yeah.
Just I wore it, and then I ended up coming up with a technique where I would break my hair down with the chemical,
Okay.
and then I would mix up. You remember TCB Bone Straight? Remember it used to come in a bottle. It was called Bone Straight. It was a wrapping solution,
I think I do.
and I would mix that with water. And I would have my friend, she did hair up the street from my mom's house. I would have her come down, rod me up, and then I would finish the whole thing out. So she would rod me up with that water and that conditioner, and I would let that sit, neutralize it, and then it gave me a natural type of body wave type of look versus that wet look. So I just would come up with all kind of stuff, and then I ended up like I've been locked for, it's gonna be like 11, maybe going on 11 years or something like that.
Okay.
But it's like really long, like so yeah. But
What
yeah.
we do, we can have a whole hair story.
Oh yeah, because it that was another thing, is that thing when that hair, that was another addiction of mine. It was another just a release of endorphins, because it was just something different, and I'm like, whoa, what is this? Because my ex, she used to wear curls and wear baseball hats, and I said, I'm gonna transition you out of this. Like, so I would blow dry it, and then I just kept blow drying, and her hair was growing. And I literally transitioned her from a curl to a relaxer.
Wow.
Without no breakage.
Well, you did the thing. You did it, because when I transitioned, I did have to. I had to cut when I was.
I transitioned.
Look at you.
What I did was I coated it. I coated the hair that had the curl in it. I coated that with conditioner, and then I just worked on the new growth with the relaxer.
You did it. You did
And
it.
so that's how we did without the breakage. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, if I have enough to work with, then I can do it.
You can do it. Bianca, I'm gonna pray for you, because I know how that goes. She said, because she wear braids, she said, I'm addicted now. I only go 1 to 4 days with a break. Girlfriend, I do know. I love, and Lizzie says she remember that Bone Straight. Yeah, she remember that Bone Straight. It's kind of coming to me just a little bit. But you know what, then, Kisahgi, you could probably, if you know how you was doing all that, you better get into this hair oil game that these people got going on now. You better sit in your house and mix some stuff up and figure it out. That's $1 billion business.
I know. I've been working with what was it? Rosemary and grapeseed oil. Huh?
Don't tell your secrets.
Okay.
You better sit up in that house, spin that thing, and come out with your oil.
Right.
It's everywhere. And I mean, $1 billion business. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that oil to grow their hair. But listen, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
It's
Thank
been
you.
a wonderful, amazing time. And
Thank
we
you.
will talk again. So I don't,
All right,
because
thank
you
you.
said them other books are thick, I gotta see how long it take me to get through them.
All right, thank you.
But once I do, we'll call and talk again. Listen,
All right,
guys,
thank you.
thank y'all for being here on this Sunday and spending this time with us. We truly do appreciate you. Don't forget, go on Amazon, okay? Go on Amazon. Wayne said he already got 2 of your ingredients. Listen, guys, go on Amazon, get the book. We truly appreciate y'all for spending time with us. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
All right, I
Bye,
see you.
Kisahgi. Thank
All right,
you.
I see you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye.